Welcome to Cake and It's Special and Happy New Year. I am back every Wednesday with a new tutorial. So to start the new year, I have made Wednesday. So here we go. I'm starting with inserting 2 skewers into a cake dummy. This is going to support the topper. Now I'm going to take some black modelling paste for the legs. I start by rolling it out and working a foot. I use my finger to run along the ankle to slightly thin it out. I also do the same along the back of where the knee would be. So you're left with something like this, then I make a second one. And once I've left them to firm up for a few minutes, I thread a skewer through. Doing it this way just allows me to keep better control as I guide the skewer through. It also helps me to not stretch the legs. Now I can place this onto the skewer that is already in the dummy. Next I fill in the gaps for the skirt. I'm keeping the body really basic, thinner at the waist and wider at the shoulders. And then I can place that onto the legs. I add a little more modelling paste to fill in the gaps. I'm not worried about it looking overly neat because I'm going to wrap a thin layer of modelling paste around the body. Moving on to her arms, I roll out a cord, again thinner at the wrist and wider at the shoulder, and I'm going to create a bend for the elbow. I'm going to stick this in place so it looks like her arms are folded. I'm also going to place them a little higher up at the shoulder because she has little puffy sleeves. So I add some crease lines in the sleeves as well. Once that's had some time to firm up, I lift the skewers up slightly so that I can cut away the exposed skewer and I can push them down into the body and patch it up. Then I add a smaller skewer through the centre to support the head. For her head, I'm starting with a petal shape and I'm going to push in the eye line. Using my thumbs, I push in a bridge for her nose. And then I'm also going to use some sculpting tools to bring out her nose. I also very gently push in the shape of her lips. I take my time and use a few different sculpting tools just to achieve the shape I want for her lips. And once I'm happy, I can push in 2 small eye sockets that I fill with white modelling paste, and then I can start painting. I'm using dry dust with dipping solution. I start by adding some brown to her eyes. and I add a tiny strip of black modelling paste to the top of her eyes. And I can paint in some eyelashes, which I made a right mess of. For her lips, I use a plum colour. I did like that colour. Going to black for her eyebrows. I also add some dry black dust onto her eyes as well. I also add a tiny bit of white to both her lips and her eyes. And now I can add her head to her body. And she needs hands. I take a small piece of my modelling paste and I'm going to flatten out the hand and pull in the wrist. And using my X-Acto knife, I cut out a triangle to leave a thumb. And then I can cut in the rest of the fingers. And then I add this to her arm. I only need one because the other arm is tucked away. I give her a big white collar and then decided I wasn't happy with her skirt, so I wrap another layer of modelling paste around her waist and then just blend it in. For her hair, I add a cap of black modelling paste to the back of her head and score in the hairlines. And then I add some separate pieces to the front for her fringe, and again, score in the hairlines. Before I add her braids, I need to add the pattern to her dress. So I make myself some mold paint with some white petal dust and dipping solution. And I'm going to use a tiny balling tool to push in a pattern all over the dress. I add some white cuffs. And then I can do her braids. So I roll out 2 thin cords of black modelling paste and I'm going to twist them together. Then I do the same again, but this time I'm going to twist in the opposite direction. And then I can push them together to create a braid. I make 2 of these and stick them in place. The last thing I do is mark out the outline for her shoes, and then I can paint over them with some glaze. And there she is. I really hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Please come back next week for a different tutorial, and as always, please do subscribe. It is completely free and it helps me out a lot. I'll see you next week. Thanks guys, bye.